What is
What
up,
is up?
MMA fans? The last UFC pay-per-view of the year is on Saturday in Las Vegas at T-Mobile Arena. UFC 310 main event Pantoja versus Kai Asakura should be a good one. But there are always a lot of good fights on UFC pay-per-view cards, and I'll tell you what, there is a very good one on this one. Vicente Luque, my next guest, he is never in a bad fight. He's had a little bit of bouncing around to do here. He thought he was going to be fighting Nick Diaz. Now he has got Themba Gorimbo. Vicente, welcome. Looking forward to this bout with Themba, I assume.
Yes, I'm very excited that I get to fight. It's been quite, this changes the cancellation in August, but after that, I kind of was ready for something like this, and I'm very, very excited that somebody got the fight and Themba, a stud. He's gonna get the fight. It's gonna be fun. Ready to step in there and put on a war.
I know Themba really wanted the fight, right? When it looked like Nick was going to fall out. Do you like the fact that he wanted to fight you, or do you take it like, do you get a little annoyed, like, yeah, you think you want a piece of me? Like, how do you take it?
I mean, I think both ways. Obviously, I appreciate that he took the fight. I appreciate, that he steps up, and but I also know, like, I have a number next to my name. I have, a big history in the UFC, so I know he wants a piece of that. I know that he wants to get a win over me to take my spot and start shining. And I think that's part of the game. I've been in that position, and that just motivates me to show him that I am a different level and that I am as hungry as I used to be. And my goal is still to be a champion in this division.
I do this with a lot of fighters, because the UFC always matches fights evenly. Themba is a slight favorite in this. He is minus 162 at DraftKings. You are plus 136. But you're coming into this fight loser of three of your last four fights. And so some people would say, boy, he hasn't been fighting well. And then you look at who you've been fighting. Champion Bilal Muhammad, top 10 ranked Jeff Neal, former champion Rafael Dos Anjos, who you beat, top 10 ranked Joaquin Butley. That's your last four. And I could go back. You have been fighting nothing but killers, my friend. How do you get your body to go through that and recover and be able to just keep coming back and delivering those kind of big time fights?
Yeah, I mean that's what I talk about, levels, and it's not so much that oh, we're different level. It's just that when we reach a certain level, we never get to fight, uh, you know, build up fights. We are always competing at a really high level, and that is tough. That is why I always admire whoever it is that can, keep so many years. Like Thompson, for instance, a guy that can be in the top 15. I don't know for how long,
Right.
and fighting at that level, because it is tough competition. And yeah, I mean, it's great to be here, and I think that obviously the body does feel sometimes, but I think I'm still young. I'm 33. I just turned 33 this month, and I still got a lot of years to really still keep on evolving, still reach my prime, and I just feel that I have still a lot to burn in this division and at this level. I know that this is the level I was made to fight, so I love it.
You have accomplished so much in your career, and I think anybody who knows you would say you are a winner in both sports and in life. Black belt and all the other things that you have. But when you're used to winning as much as somebody like you are, when you get into a little bit of a losing streak, how much does that mess with your mind, and how difficult is it to kind of keep the mindset? Because I know so many fighters say 90% of fighting is half mental, right? The Yogi Berra line. But how difficult is it to keep your confidence high when the results aren't there the way you're normally used to?
Man, it's hard. It's hard. I think that you gotta have a support from friends, from people around, from family, and that's what I have. I have my family. My wife has been with me from my first MMA fight, to this day, and she has always been, supporting me. My dad, my mom also support me, and I have all the brothers from my church, Gregory. and Gilbert, they are not only my brothers from fighting, but we all go to the same church. So this support system that I have, that always have my back, always keep me real, which is super important. That's really what gets me to go through these moments. I love winning, and this is what I do. I think any competitor, for us to be good competitors, we gotta want to win more than anything. So losing is the opposite to that. I hate
Right.
it. And like you said, out of my last four, I have three losses. That just drives me crazy. And I have to be in a great environment with the people that can show me where I have to grow so that I can take all that, let's say, frustration, and yeah, I would put frustration of these losses and turn that into motivation for me to overcome and get back to where I want to be.
When you were supposed to fight Nick Diaz, I mean, I think that was a great fight for you because, quite honestly, I'm not sure Nick is the same fighter that he was at his peak, right? But he's still a big name. People still love him. You're fighting him, and everybody and his brother is going to be watching that fight. Um, First of all, what was the mindset going into fighting Nick Diaz? Because I would imagine it's a little more of a mind game fighting Nick Diaz as it is to somebody else, even somebody who might be physically better than him.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the Nick Diaz had a lot of things. I think that the hype for that fight was huge. That was the biggest thing that in my mind was like, this is going to be a really good fight to get that hype. Now, when I saw him as an opponent, I always like looked at him as the best Nick Diaz, because my plan is to get to the championship belt. So if I'm training to fight guys that I think are not as good as me, or are not as good as they used to be, I'm not going to be the best version of myself. So
Right.
I train for the best Nick. I train to be ready to take out that Nick that was fighting BJ, fighting Carlos Condit, GSP, all these guys, uh, and and obviously I also like he was a guy. He's a guy that has a lot of experience. He's a guy that's been inside that octagon so many times. He knows how to make the fight hard. He knows how to make the fight dirty. So that's something I also was getting ready for. Which in this new fight, I think I'm the guy that brings that. I'm the guy
Right.
that been there so many times. I've been through so many wars, uh, but I'm still at my prime. So I kind of combine that. So yeah, I think that's interesting.
Themba, on the other hand, is a guy that in a lot of ways, he's unknown, but he had the Rock behind him and all that, stuff that pushing him. And he is on a 4-fight winning streak. And I know from talking to him, he is full of confidence in himself and belief that he can get to the top. So is it important for you, Vicente, to start this fight fast and kind of send a message? Okay, Themba, you've hit another level now, and things are a little different at the level I'm at.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I think that once you get to like a top five fight, if you see the top five fights, like there's a lot of study in the beginning, because everybody knows that they're high level. They know how much a mistake could cost. And we're not so surprised uh, by someone's will or someone's aggressiveness and intensity. Now, at the level I'm fighting now is a guy that is still not ranked. I'm there in the top in the 15 portion, 15 between 10 and 15. I think at this level, it's different. There is a lot of being able to go in there and just establish your fight, make sure that you are dominating the energy inside that octagon. So definitely, I think that that's something I definitely want to go in there and show Themba that, hey, you want to step in here into the top 15, you want to get to this level, this is what you got to deal with. And then it's gonna be for him to deal with. I'm gonna put all the pressure I can.
There are quite a few welterweight fights on this card. Chiesa, Max Griffin, your fight, Randy Brown and Brian Battle. I think that's an interesting fight. Brian Battle's a guy on the rise. They're going up, and of course the co-main event. Shavkat and Ian Machado. Do you like that having guys in your weight class fighting the same night as you or do you eye up a lot of those guys and kind of say, okay, how do I compare to him, to him, to him?
Yeah, I mean, I always think it's nice to kind of fight like it's for me it's like fighting with the whole division like in the same calendar. That just makes the matchmaking later make more sense. So I think that's good, and I like to see if I could see fights, the live fights of my like future opponents. I definitely appreciate that. And I think it's funny because I fought Chiesa, I fought Randy Brown. I was scheduled to fight Ian Gary. I
Right.
trained with Shafkat and I've trained with Ian, so it's crazy also to see like how much I know like the whole division. I've fought so many fights. It's funny. It's nice.
Well, give me a scouting report on the co-main event then, since you probably know more than anybody.
Yeah, I mean, for me, Shafkat is favorite, and I'll tell you why. Like he is a guy that he's a got good striking, great grappling, great wrestling. So for me, like overall, he's a better fighter. Now, if I match him, I look him against Ian Gary. I think Gary has a slight edge on the striking. He's more talented, more skilled. Now, I don't think it's a huge advantage. I
Right.
think he does have the striking, but it's not huge. Now, when I go to wrestling and grappling, then I think the advantage is for Shafkat, and it is much bigger than Ian's advantage in the striking. So that's where I see that the fight really could be decided. But I've it's been 2 years that I haven't trained with Ian, so I'm sure that he has evolved a lot, and I think it's gonna be a fun, exciting fight. I got Shafkat. If I were a betting man, I would put my money on Shafkat. And but we'll see. It's gonna be fun. Ian is a beast. He never, never not goes into fight, so it's gonna be good.
As a person who may have put a few bets in the past, let me tell you, you make a lot more money doing what you do than betting on those fights. So keep that. Hey,
Yeah.
let's wrap with this. Obviously, this you're focused on the Themba fight. If you get past Themba, there's some really interesting names around you, and I know they're probably not going to match you with people that you've already fought before. But there's two names right above you in the rankings that I look at and I go, "Whoa, they would be fun fights with Vicente," which would be Carlos Prates, and I know he's injured right now, and so he's out. And Michael Morales. Do you have any thoughts on them? And would either of those guys be in your kind of thought process if you win this fight on Saturday?
I mean, obviously, like I think that these two guys are like great up and comers, guys that have shown like not only are up and comers, but they can fight at a high level. They can really go in there and just put on great fights against tough guys. So in the future, I would definitely see myself fighting one of them. Carlos Prates, I think I like his style a lot. I really
Fun
like his.
fighter.
I think me and him would make a crazy fight. But obviously now my focus is on this fight and on getting to the top. So we'll see. We'll see if these guys are the way to the top. They might be the next opponents after. But first of all, I got to get a big win against Themba Gorimbo. I can never look down this guy. He's hungry. He wants to get my spot. I want to get to the top. So I got to get past him, and then we'll see what's the future.
That attitude is why Vicente Luque's fights are so much fun. Vicente, brother, we appreciate you as always. Always good talking to you. Wish you luck on Saturday. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Let's go.